Hello everyone, welcome back to Autognizant channel. In the previous video, we have learned how to use if-else conditions and loops within the Selenium IDE, and we have also seen how to use them in the actual test automation scripts. Now it's time to learn debugging. Debugging is very simple in Selenium IDE, yet very powerful feature that will help us record and maintain our scripts very easily. Let's get started. I have already opened Selenium IDE and I have also opened Selenium IDE project. Now, first thing first, how to set a debug point, or we can call it breakpoint. So there are a couple of ways. First way is to click on any step where you want to set a breakpoint, right click and hit toggle breakpoint. You see, step number 3 is having a breakpoint. We can have it another breakpoint at step number 5. So you noticed when I just click on the step number, it also sets a breakpoint. If I want to remove the breakpoint, we just need to hit again. There is also a hotkey available. If I want to remove the breakpoint using hotkey, that is B. So I can hit B key and the breakpoint is removed. If I hit B key again, breakpoint is set. So these are few ways you can set a breakpoint and you can toggle between the breakpoints. At any given step, if we set a breakpoint and start the execution once it reaches to that step, the Selenium IDE pauses the execution and we can go over the next step by step. So let me set a breakpoint at step number 3 and step number 4. Here is also a button for disabling breakpoints. If you select this button, all the breakpoints will be ignored and script will execute as is. So for now, let's observe how breakpoint works. So I'm gonna hit run current test. So you see, it is paused in the debugger. So at step number 3, our execution is stopped. Now, here are few things. You can stop the execution. There is this pause button. If you want to resume the execution, you can just hit this button, then it will continue with the execution. Or if there are further breakpoints in your scripts, it will pause on the next breakpoint. But if you want to just go to next step, for that there is this button. So if you hit this button, it will go to the next step. Now you see it went inside login reuse tests and it is at the first step now. If I hit step over next command, it is going continuing the execution, right? Now if I want to stop at next breakpoint, so I can simply click resume test execution. So you see step number 3 is completed and it again paused at next breakpoint, that is step number 4. Now from here also, if you want to resume the execution, you can hit resume button, or if you want to step over the current command, you can simply hit this button. It's moving to the next step. Okay, so these are the very simple steps you can follow in order to debug your test scripts. Now let me resume the execution. Now you see test is successfully completed. All right, I will show you how this disable breakpoint function works. So if currently it is not clicked, if I just click here, now you see all the breakpoints are disabled. So when you run this script now, it will not pause at any point. Let us execute and observe. You see the script executed successfully and it did not stop at any point. Okay, all right. Then I'm just unchecking this button. Now it's time to understand the pause on exception. If you want to pause the execution, right, without any breakpoints, so you don't know where your test is going to fail, right? And if you want to debug such a test script, what you can do is you can click on pause on exception button. Whenever at any point in time your step fails, it will automatically pause the execution and you can debug further from there. So let's observe this one. So in order to do that, I will use another step, that is, let us say, repetitive. Now I'm not setting any breakpoint and I'm making an syntactical mistake. So I'm just making an syntactical mistake intentionally for failure. So I'm just removing one space from here. Let us observe if we execute it directly. So you see our script failed at step number 3 because of the syntax error. This keyword return argument is not defined. Perfect. Now, instead of failing the script, I want to debug my script here. So what I need to do, I just need to hit pause on exception button, and now if I run it again, you will see the script is automatically paused in the debugger because we have enabled this. Look how beautiful it is, right? So if you are not sure where your script is going to fail, so you can enable this option and it will pause the execution whenever any step fails. Now you can make a further decision whether to continue or stop the execution or add a few more debug points. That's up to you. For now, I just wanted to show it. I'm going to resume it again and the script is again going to fail. Now let me revert my changes back to original because I don't want this script to be failing again. Now let's get back to our successful login script. So far we have seen how to debug, how to pause the execution, and how to use disable breakpoint and pause on exception button. Now what else is there? Yes, there are a couple of options. Like if I want to play step number 3 and further steps I want to debug. So what I am going to do is we have an option called play to this point, right? So if I use this option, it will without any breakpoint. Let me remove this breakpoint. Even without breakpoints, it's going to stop the execution at this point. So let's run using play to this point. You see the execution is automatically stopped at step number 3, right? Now you can do whatever you want to do. You can move to the next step. You can move to the next step. All right, and it is still pausing because I'm using step over action. Now let's resume the execution and complete the flow. Okay, another option we have is play from here. So let us say I have executed the script till step number 3, or let's execute it again using play to this point, and it stopped here. Let me step over. Okay, so execution is still paused and we are on the page after login. So I'm going to stop the recording and I want to execute the remaining steps from here. Make sure that before you use this option play from here, you must be on the right page, otherwise your script will fail. You see the successful login script executed successfully, right? Now the third option is record from here. So let us say I executed the script till login and I want to record the further steps. So I can right click and hit record from here. So what this will do, it will execute the script till step number 3. It will show a warning pop-up whether you want to record the script or not. So let's try this one. Record from here. Okay, it's successfully logged in. See, it showed up a warning. You can now start recording. The recording will start from the command you selected. I'm gonna hit start recording. You see, it started recording the script. Now it's up to us whether you want to set any breakpoint, whether you want to click on login. Let's click on login. Okay, you see this click action is recorded successfully. I just did this to show you whether the steps are being recorded or not. So you see the steps are being recorded. Now let me stop the recording and remove this not required step. I'm gonna simply delete it. So this is how we can use debugging feature within the Selenium IDE, and which will really help us fix our test scripts easily, and even it is going to help us while recording the new scripts. That's all for today's lesson. I hope you liked it, and I also hope that you will use debugging while you record any test scripts using Selenium IDE. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon. Happy testing.